You ready to do this thing?
Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweaty Casuals, brought to you by the Snowflake Sanctuary Discord server. This is the podcast where we usually talk about the games we love to play, from the state of rank systems to our thoughts on the newest sensations and everything in between. My name is Zach, and along with my co-host Nox, we will be your guide as we traverse Elo Hell. Small reminder, we do swear, so viewer discretion is advised. Today we're joined by nobody, and that's okay.
It's our first solo pod.
Yeah.
Yay!
And we're going to talk about building your first PC and why you should too. So, our icebreaker today. Nox, what was your first PC building experience?
Oh. The first PC I played on was not one that I built. I've talked about it before on the show briefly, where I got it on Facebook Marketplace for $400 from some very nice person in Texas. I definitely got more than I bought, which was pretty cool, especially considering how much I see certain PCs going for on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, anywhere you can buy secondhand equipment. And oh gosh, it was this tricked out office computer that had a 1050 Ti in it, something like that, and ran just enough that I could run most things at 60 FPS. And I loved that thing to pieces. So my first PC building experience kicked off when my lovely family for Christmas, who they don't understand PC gaming. They don't understand gaming at all as a hobby. And I really, really wanted a new graphics card. I really wanted more frames. And so they were awesome. And it was during the time where graphics cards had gone down in price, finally, because mining became less of a trend that people were doing. And
Again.
and my lovely family gifted me a 3060. Zach remembers this, I'm sure. I was in my apartment about a year ago now. 2 years ago? I don't remember anymore. It might have been 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever it is.
About a year.
It was a year? That's
Yeah.
crazy. About a year ago, I was in my old apartment, and I was on Discord on my phone with my camera on, with my on-call tech support, which is Zach, helping me install my new graphics card. We popped the thing open, and it didn't have the correct, what was it? The PCIe
PCIe connectors. You didn't have a power supply that could power it.
My power supply couldn't handle a 3060, so I was gifted a brand new graphics card that didn't work in my computer. Luckily, at this point in my life, I had a little bit of disposable income. Christmas money was really cool. Thank you, Grandma and Grandpa, for that one. And I said, fuck it. We're just going to build an entire computer around this new graphics card. And so that began my experience with building, because I needed a computer to support it, and my current one didn't. So I'm sure we'll get further into that story as we go on. But I want to hear more about Zach's first experience with PC building.
Mine's really bizarre. So I've talked about, I work in the film industry, and one of the things that I knew I needed was a website. And this was fairly early on. I had moved to LA, and I was kind of just trying to figure stuff out. And I was looking at all these options for web hosting. I was like, I don't want to pay anybody $10 a month. I don't want to spend that much money. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's nothing, but I don't want to spend that money.
Yeah, but that adds up. Like
It does
$120 a year is still like it's I guess over a course of a year it does feel pretty insignificant, but it's still a reoccurring cost.
Absolutely. And it's like an important cost, so I wanted to have just something that was like, this is mine, it's set, it's good, it's done, I don't really have to worry about it. So my first build was a 1 rack unit, so it's 1.5 inch tall server. And it's sitting right next to me. It still runs my website to this day. It's been going now for 8 years.
Knock on wood.
Knock on
Knock
wood.
on wood so fast.
Got quite a lot of uptime, given that fact. Yeah, don't build a 1U rack mount server for your first computer. Getting everything to fit under 1.5 inches is an experience and a half. And when I originally was building it, I also planned for it to be headless, so it didn't have a graphics card in there. There was no way to actually view a GUI. That was a mistake I learned to rectify later because I'm okay at Linux. I'm not that good at Linux. But yeah, that was my first PC building experience, and I don't regret it at all. It's opened a huge door for me.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, I've been able to, I mean, fast forward to today after all of this, I know currently, so I for my job, I work in higher ed at a college. And the college is actually looking at expanding into offering esports. And being my interest in online gaming and my not expertise, but expertise compared to the people I work with in that realm of things, like I'm brought on as someone who understands how to build computers. I mean, and knows what goes into a good one. So I know it's opened up new opportunities for me, which is super cool.
I feel the same way. I mean, I had one company that I'm not going to go into too many details for, but they needed
Nah,
something.
dox them. Tell
Not
them.
absolutely not. They needed something really specific and bizarre. And I had just enough experience to be like, I can do that. I can make that happen. Um, we'll get into that though. We'll get into that.
I mean, I've even offered at this point. Fun fact, unrelated to gaming, if you are somebody who is not in the higher ed field, most people considering you're probably out of college or never went, which is chill. There's no money here right now for anyone, ever. And costs are something that we're looking for into expanding into esports. Like I've been like, if we need to really cut costs, I will sit in a room as long as they pay me to do it within my salary, my hours throughout the week. And I will put them together myself.
And
So
it's
we'll see if that ends up happening. I'll keep y'all updated on that.
that is one of those things that like I think there are plenty of people who are happy and willing to do. I do get it because there is like a risk to it.
And I'm like, oh, for one. This thing running is crazy to me still.
Let's talk about that. So how did your new computer come together?
It's like just after Christmas 2022. We're going into the 2023 year. It was last year. Time flies. That's crazy. But at the same time that I was looking to build a new computer, Zach and I, and a few others in the server were actually planning the first time we were going to go meet up in real life.
Yep.
Which timing worked out real well there because your girl a year ago could not build a computer. There ain't no way. It doesn't matter how many times I watched that 4-hour Linus Tech Tips video about how to build a PC. Something would have gone so wrong. So about a year ago, we all head down to a location of one of our other Discord friends, which I think we could... Chicago?
Yeah, well, I think it's a big enough city that...
Chicago. We were going down to meet up in Chicago, and there's a Micro Center. Things I had never been to, or a place I'd never been to. Micro Center.
First thing you should know if you're going to build a computer, if there's a Micro Center nearby, make it a stop.
Yes, it was like Build-A-Bear, but for PCs, which was pretty cool. As someone who likes puzzles and putting things together, we're both Lego fans here. Building a PC is just adult Legos. He's got his BD one there. Mine is
back there.
Right there. So we made our parts list around my 3060 and we had it all set. And when we went down to Chicago, one of our stops was Micro Center. Got everything we needed. Gosh, I don't know if I can rattle off my parts list anymore. It's an AMD CPU.
It is. It's an AMD.
It's a 5600X, 5700X.
7600X.
That sounds right.
We got thrown a
Oh my gosh, that's right. We got there. And all of a sudden, we have all the things in the cart. We're like getting it together. We got everything we need for the most part. And what was the part that I forgot to bring? Did I forget my graphics card? I did. I didn't bring my new
bring,
graphics card,
you brought it
but
to
I had
Chicago, but you didn't. No, you didn't bring it to Chicago.
no, I had my old computer with me though. We brought my old computer to
Oh, yeah.
use some of the parts because I had memory in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a graphics card, but I didn't have my 3060 with me, which was still probably one of the funnier things that I forgot, of course. But we were picking out the motherboard and we were between an open box that had an AM5 chip or a new one that had an AM4 chip. And as we were working with somebody in the store, they were talking about all the deals. And all of a sudden, everything we had in the cart wasn't compatible because we needed. If I got a certain CPU, they'd give me free DDR5 RAM.
Yeah, that was the thing that was like, oh, well, we were gonna go DDR4, but
If it's free.
if it's free, I mean,
No RGB though. I was pretty disappointed in that.
eh.
Look, I know RGB's tacky. This was my first computer. This thing, the fans on the case are still spinning RGB. I love it every day. I am here for the colors. Shapes and colors are my favorite thing. This is great. But we ended up walking out with 7600X AMD chip. It was a B56 560 motherboard, DDR5 RAM. We didn't do water cooling.
No water cooling. We got.
I wanted it so bad. That was another thing I wanted so bad.
Everybody wants water cooling, but then you look at the price tag and go, "Ooh, maybe later."
I wanted water cooling and I was willing to pay for it. And Zach went, "I'm not putting together water cooling tonight." So we didn't.
Well, I think you looked at an AIO and I was like, "Don't do it. It's not."
And that's what I would have done. So I'm trying to look at it. What else do I got? I forget the brand. Was it a Be Cool cooler? No, it was a nice one. I don't think I got a Be Quiet. I think I got one of the. What's the nice brand?
Oh, did you get a Noctua? Did I convince you?
I did.
Yeah,
I got a Noctua.
I'm a Noctua fanboy.
And I believe it's a Corsair power supply.
Yep. That's who I usually
850
recommend.
watt.
That sounds about what I'd probably recommend.
Long story short, I'm rattling off parts now. Long story short, my brand new graphics card became the most outdated piece of hardware in my computer. Thank you, Micro Center, for your wonderful sales around the Christmas time. I built my computer out without taking into account the cost of the graphics card, which was a gift. I built it out for about $1,100, which, in the grand scheme of things, for a nice computer, that wasn't going to be outdated within the next couple years thanks to the RAM and I did mostly SSD. Was it SSD?
Yeah, we did.
Storage.
We got you, I think. Did we get you?
I have one 2 terabyte.
Yeah.
SATA. I need a SATA cable. Can't remember what it's called. But I've got the little NVMe.
Yep.
1 terabyte. That was my other thing with my first computer is it only had 500 gigabytes of storage, and whoever partitioned it awfully. I really, in theory, only had about 180 gigabytes of storage on my first computer, which meant I was able to have Overwatch and then whatever other game I was playing at that time. I still have Ark, the survival game, sitting in my Steam because everyone was playing it for like 6 weeks. And I wanted to play it so bad, but I didn't have enough storage on my computer to have it. And then by the time I built my new computer, no one was playing it anymore.
Sorry.
But now I have 3 terabytes, and I actually am. My 2 terabyte has a ton of room. My 1 terabyte's almost full, actually. But we get all the parts. We bought all the parts, and we went back to where we were staying. And our trip to Chicago wasn't long.
No.
And the computer was not the only reason we were there.
Yep.
We were also there just socially to meet people for the first time and hang out. So we were all adults. We went out for dinner. We went and touched the bean. And we went out for drinks. And we were just having a social night. And then by the time we came back, fairly intoxicated, at 11 p.m., we said, we're going to build this computer. I have a very foggy memory of the first hour of building my first computer. I don't know if Zach, I've been yapping. I don't know if Zach wants to butt in now because now he's a little bit more part of the story.
Yeah, it was fun. We had fun. I made you do things. I didn't put together many things. I think There was like maybe like one. No, I didn't really do anything the first time.
No.
It wasn't boot. It didn't boot after we put it all together.
Yeah,
That
so we
was-
put this entire thing together, and then it didn't boot. It's about 2 a.m. Drazzle, who you guys will know if you've seen other episodes, was passed out on the floor, not because she was so drunk, because she fell asleep. Because everyone was tired. And it didn't work. The computer didn't work. The computer I just spent $1,100 on that day didn't work. Terrifying. Do you remember what the first error was?
I think it just didn't. It just straight up like didn't turn on.
We had to do a CMOS reset.
Yep. And
That was the first thing we ran into, and then it booted.
And then it seemed fine. We ran some tests with the 1050, which was fine.
It turned on. We installed Windows.
And then there were other issues, which turns out AMD on their newer chips, driver install order matters a lot. That was found out by somebody who is not either of us.
Right. So cue me getting back to my apartment, stoked, because I have a brand new computer. I was showing everyone. It was so cool. It's white. It's got RGB. And I now have 144 frames on games. Oh my god. Sick as fuck. And then Overwatch started crashing every time I played the game. Y'all ever been banned from quick play? If you leave enough times, you will. Now you will too.
Yeah,
New
they're more
patch this
stringent about it.
season. But a year ago, when there were no time penalties for leaving games, I could not leave quick play. I couldn't join quick play games anymore because my computer crashed so many times. And I mean, I was getting things like driver errors. I was getting things, my rendering device would time out. A multitude of different things. I would get blue screens of death. I still sometimes, if my game stutters, my heart drops because I'm ready for that rendering device lost error to come up and I get kicked out of the game.
I got it last week.
They come, but they're terrifying. I mean, every time my computer blue screens, and it happens, I would say about once a month now. For why? It works when I turn it back on. So, but it was issue upon issue upon issue. We tried everything for months. 3 months we spent trying to troubleshoot this computer. It wasn't until March that I finally took it to somebody in my town and said, stress test it, do anything you can to it. I have no idea what's wrong with it. I gave him a laundry list of things that it had done. And then fun fact, whenever your computer likes to crash, whenever it wants, and then it gets stage fright when it goes to the repair shop and won't do any of the errors. The first call I got from the repair shop was that they stress tested it for 8 hours and nothing happened. Which is so disheartening to hear after you didn't have a computer for 3 months. Turns out, CPUs just sometimes don't want to work at full capacity. Sometimes they'll just run at 1.4 hertz.
Gigahertz.
Yep, that one. And just live that way. Just because they want to. And do you want to know what fixes it? A clean install of Windows and re-downloading drivers.
Yeah, that one was a weird one. Because it wasn't just me who was
No.
working on that.
This Discord has arguably 3 of the smartest people I know in terms of computer hardware and software. Zach, Crash, and Taco. In my experience, are 3 of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to troubleshooting and handling computers. None of them had any idea what was going on. I still don't even think, if I would go back to the computer shop guy, I don't think he even really understood what was going on. He just found the problem finally.
I don't think he even found the problem. I think he just said, "Oh, well, there is a problem."
Right. He's like, this is
one.
wrong. This is wrong, so let's just nuke the thing. And then I forgot, we thought it was the motherboard at one point.
I forgot about that. And then
I bought a fully brand new motherboard because the one that we bought at Micro Center was open box.
Yep.
And we thought it was maybe the motherboard was faulty, and that was why it was returned, and that they didn't catch it. I bought I still have a brand new open box motherboard sitting in my apartment somewhere because I put in the new one. I fully took apart and rebuilt my computer by myself. That was one, I was so proud of myself that night. I fully did it by myself. And this thing works. That's crazy. But yeah. Moral of the story. What the fuck? It works now, which is pretty cool.
Which is good. We like that.
It's great. It's got RGB, as I have talked at lengths about. But overall, super cool experience. Would do it again. Don't really want to right now.
No, I think there's always that little bit of time when you get a new computer where it teethes and you have to figure out what its particular quirks are. And I think that's probably one of the things that deters people the most.
I just remember the most frustrating part about it was me looking at my boyfriend just so upset that my brand new computer I spent all this money on wasn't working. And saying, this is hardware, this is software. It should just work, right? If I put it together correctly and plug the right things in, it should just work because that's what it's built to do. That is not the case.
I think my my second computer building experience pretty much defined how not true that is. So, my second computer was still not a gaming computer. It was not intended as a gaming computer, I should say.
Was this your Hackintosh?
Yes, this was the hack. So, I needed a really, really specific build because I needed something that would be able to run Mac OS on a Windows computer, basically, or on normal x86 hardware. It's sad because that world is going to be disappearing with the whole transition to Apple Silicon, but it was really cool when you did it because there's a great book I have somewhere over here called Code. It's by one of the guys who founded Microsoft, and he goes through the entire process of like everything, the bare basic things in a computer and how you can build them out. Like he starts by explaining why computers are kind of built around binary and then explaining what binary is and how you use it, and then how basic logic gates work, and then starting to build those into subassemblies that can actually do calculations. And it's a really, really great book. And then taking that and then moving into an actual environment where you're like, okay, cool, I can actually see where some of those things are coming into play and how this is talking to that, and I need to do this, and I need to input these things. It's a level of understanding of our world that was really just fascinating to get into. But if I'm going to go build this computer that needs to go edit, theoretically, the next big Hollywood movie, I need something, A, that's going to kick butt. But if I'm going to do that, I might as well install Windows on it and play some games. So I spent another $100, got another hard drive, threw Windows on there, and I didn't game them for first couple months I had it. And then I started, I'm trying to think, what was that? That was a 6700K Intel processor. And I got a 1070 Mini. Anything else fun in there? Nothing really crazy. Corsair.
But it worked.
It did work. And I loved that computer. I still have most of the components that I got. But you want to talk about teething problems? There are things in there that I didn't know because the Hackintoshin community is very spread out. And there are some really good resources. When I got into it when, oh god, I'm not going to remember the name of the bootloader. Clover was out. Which my only person that I knew who had done it before was using Chameleon before that and had told me time and time again how much he hated it. So the bootloader is basically that's the piece of software that lets you boot into the operating system, but it also has to do special things because macOS has some very, very specific little things that it looks for and it double checks. So like one of them is you need a motherboard serialization. So every motherboard from Apple has a serial number ID serial ID on it so that iMessage works. And if that isn't injected properly into the OS when it's booting, iMessage not only won't work, but if your iMessage account is attached to it, it'll actually flag you.
Like, what do you mean flag you?
Oh, like they'll get you kicked off iMessage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Could that just happen?
It could just happen. So like I never hooked up my iMessage. I knew I was like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go down that road. I'll deal with the fact that my text messages, only pop up on my phone. But you could kind of it was all these little things, and I just remember Chameleon was just such a I never heard a good thing about it other than it works most of the time. Clover was a lot more friendly.
Right. Yeah, you love when things work most of the time, especially with software and hardware. That's crazy. I need a. Can you insert in my corner right here? That's crazy counter because I think I'm at least at 3.
I can try and do that in post.
Too many to. It's insane.
But I mean that investment for me, when I looked at it and I went and built it out, I spent $2,200 on my computer. And part of that was because I did it during the first GPU mining craze, which
I love the old days.
yeah, GPUs were equally insane. So I actually got a 1070 mini. That card worth every damn penny. That has been the computer card that I go back to when I'm like, God, I don't know if my graphics card's working. I just install that one
because it just won't die.
It won't die. I've literally given it to people when they've had their graphics card die. It's been in more.
It's like now. This will someday age this episode. Are you familiar with the TikTok sound where it's like, "Excuse me, I need your help. I need you to kill me." That is in the Trump voice. That is your graphics card sitting in the corner.
It really is.
I need.
And funnily enough, it's getting
you
passed.
You need to kill me. Else. Oh my God.
That graphics card is Zotac, you did a good job with your 1070 mini. When the first time it dipped though, I was like, you know what? Let me actually take my investment forward. Part of the reason why I even did this whole experiment was I was like, well, I want something I can upgrade. I want something that down the line, if I say I need something better, I need something faster, I don't have to replace the whole computer. I can just go. And I already wanted some more GPU horsepower. So I said, okay, let me go check on eBay, and I found somebody who had a 1080 listed for $500.
Nice.
Which at the time, like that was a friggin' steal. A 1080 was probably an $800 card, so I was like, yeah, sure. And that was if you found one new at retail, which nobody had.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, I'll grab that. I got it, and the card crashed. Constantly.
Love.
Great
to get into gaming during a mining craze. Why do we do this?
Because the mining crazes never end.
It's not big right now.
No, Bitcoin's doing okay right now. It's not great.
Yeah.
I think it just crashed to about $55, if I remember.
That's not good.
No, but it was at 70 like a week ago, so. Anyway, the 1080 started crashing. Couldn't figure it out. I was like, oh, great. I'm really hoping I'm not out $500. Decided to head over to ASUS's website, see if they still would do an RMA, if the card was still new enough, and it was. I sent it to them. They checked it out, and they said, yep, your video memory's bad. We're going to send you a replacement. And I was like, cool, great. A couple days later, I got an email, and I didn't really pay attention to it. All I saw was there were just 2 SKUs, and they were like, hey, we don't have any of your SKU, this one, available. Is this one okay? And I was like, yeah, sure. They both say 1080.
Whatever.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention to it though. I get the new one, and I stare at it. I'm like, this is a 1080 Ti. This is literally the best card on the market right now.
You really said, let me buy a full second hand to giving me the best card on the market.
It wasn't an intentional swindle. It just happened.
Right.
But I installed that, and that's still the card I'm using.
Yeah, you love that thing.
I have a love-hate relationship with my 1080 Ti. It's showing its age.
Time to bring back out the mini.
We're 3 generations past 1080 Ti, but at the same time, like, I can still run Overwatch at 120.
Right. Which is all you really need.
Yeah, and
I firmly believe if you can get Overwatch above 100, I think that's I think that should be base frames.
And I am at the point where...
Quick little tidbit for people who are getting into their upgrading their old setups. Fun fact, your card might be able to handle more than you think it can. Buy a new monitor. Try that first. Because I didn't know that my 1050 Ti that I had could do 120 frames. But it could. I was just on a 60 hertz monitor.
Yeah, well.
Once again, as I mentioned in old episodes, hand-me-downs from boyfriend's dad's basement. You took what you could get back then. I wasn't paying more than $400 for my computer.
And that is a good way to start out.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, they still work. My second monitor is still the one I was playing Overwatch on a year ago. Like, it's still, like, it's kicking. This monitor is probably from the early 2000s. But it works.
And that's what you gotta do.
Right.
I think my first piece of advice is if anybody wants to get into PC gaming, talk to other people in the space.
Right.
Because I think inherently there is a sense of camaraderie between us. And I think we're all, like, we want more people to join us.
Mm-hmm.
We like doing this hobby, and it's not just the, hey, we get to build computers. No, like, we like the gaming. We like the social aspects of it. We like the playing the game part of it.
Right.
And we want to encourage it. So, I helped you with your build.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a computer behind me that's for somebody else in our server that really needs to get shipped at some point. Working on that.
I've helped, nothing crazy, nothing like a full build, but I've helped people around me pick out parts, troubleshoot with their secondhand builds. Like, it's awesome to be able to pass that along, even when you don't feel like you're super knowledgeable.
I helped both the people we went to Chicago with get a computer.
Right. I forgot about, yeah, that one was pretty recent too.
Drazzles is funny. I'm going to tell Drazzles real quick. So Drazzle, also in the middle of a GPU shortage, decided that she really wanted a computer. She really wanted to build her own computer. She went so far out of her way. She got the CPU, she got the processor, the motherboard. She was looking at power supplies, and she was looking at cases, and she was looking for a GPU. She was looking here, there, everywhere. Couldn't find one, let alone
afford one.
Because the secondhand market was absolutely ludicrous at that point. That was during the pandemic. I want to say that was like early 2021.
Oh yeah, I lucked out a little bit in that the mining craze was going down when mine was purchased because Best Buy actually had them in stock for a decent price.
Mm-hmm.
For the 2 years before 2022, Christmas 2023, like 3 years. It started in COVID, and it was bad for a while, like really bad.
Yeah, I remember that because that was when I think it was the 30 series came out. I don't remember if it was the 30 series or the 40 series, but one of them came out.
30 series.
There was just
during the
period.
The 40 series came out fairly close after I built mine.
Okay.
Like, that's why the 30s were down in price and more available, is because the 40s were coming.
Got it. Anyway, she was looking, could not find one for the life of her. So what she ended up doing, or what ended up happening was I went with a buddy of mine to Micro Center in Boston for unrelated reasons. I forget what I need. I probably need to buy another hard drive. I've got way too many hard drives. I think I've got like over 20 now.
Racking them up.
But I was talking to the guy at Micro Center, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got a friend who's looking at GPUs. Do you guys happen to have anything?" He was like, "Oh no, but we have this deal going on where if you buy our build service, which is $100, and it's a great service. Don't get me wrong. They do the full write up. They give you a whole piece of paper that gives you every problem that they found in any way, shape, or form. Here's every frame rate they're getting and a bunch of different benchmarks. Like, actually a really great service." But he said, as long as you buy that, we'll sell you a brand new GPU at MSRP. So
That's such a good deal.
I texted Drazzle, and I'm like, "Are you busy right now?" And she's like, "I'm in a meeting. Why?" I'm like, "I can get you a computer right now, but I like need the yes no."
I'm
So
assuming it was a yes.
so $3,000 on my credit card later.
You were paid back eventually.
I did get paid back, and that's how I know that actually that the limit on Venmo is $2,999.99.
So just couldn't hit that $3,000.
No, I think we ended up saying, "Don't worry about the penny." Yeah, that was a whole fun thing because she needed to get it. She'd had to fly it back to where she's from, but it was located up here in Mass.
That's
Oh,
so crazy.
but everybody
No,
was
it's
excited.
right. Because you found a GPU at not a scalper price.
No, it was exciting because it was like Drazzle can play with us.
Oh, yeah, that part too. Sorry. I do love Drazzle. Don't make it sound like I wasn't excited about that. God damn it. I sound awful. That was tough. That was a tough look. Drazzle, I love you. I know you'll watch this someday. I love you and your computer and all of the Overwatch games we lose together. Um No, I definitely wouldn't trade the experience of building it. As annoying as it was that because the other thing is too, not having a computer for 3 months and not having gaming, I lost some of the community here. Like, I came back, everything was fine, but, like, I didn't have a reason to be on my computer because it didn't work.
And
So that
you'd
was
still
really
hop in and say hi,
but I'm not gonna like, it's one of those things that I'm not gonna sit there while you guys are all playing Overwatch together.
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go sulk in my bed about it. Like, I'm gonna go watch YouTube videos and pretend like I'm playing.
We tried to fix it.
I know we did. We tried so hard. And we got there, but
We did. We did.
yeah, definitely wouldn't trade it. Wish I had a few less hiccups. Or like as massive as hiccups as I had, that it literally wouldn't let me play games. It didn't do its purpose. It ran Minecraft. Oh my god, I played a lot of Minecraft during that time because it could run Minecraft for at least, it would take it about 4 hours before it would crash me out of Minecraft.
Minecraft.
I forgot about that.
A potato, which helps.
Yeah, I mean, I played Minecraft at work on my MacBook Air 2012 and it ran fine. But yeah, it would still time out. Like the CPU would stop like 4 or 5 hours into a Minecraft session. But I played a lot of Minecraft during that time.
So yeah, talk to somebody in the space. Like,
backing it up.
Yeah, talk to somebody who's in the space, because I think the other thing that so many people think is that PC gaming is so cost prohibitive. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on it. I'm on my second gaming PC now. And this was something that I didn't build as a gaming PC. It just turned into that. Long story. Hackatoshing's fun. It becomes a real headache after a while. But there are ways to do it that are much more reasonable. Your first build, I think, is phenomenal.
Oh my god. For what it did for me, and it lasted 1.5 years. And it's still running.
It is. You passed
We have
it
another individual in our server who is also was first my IRL friend from college. She was into this. She loves The Sims. She loves The Sims so much. And her $300 Windows Acro laptop would literally almost start a house fire every time she tried to open up the game. And as a birthday present, I said, I think, what did I have to switch out? What did I have to get for it? There was like
A new
one.
hard drive.
I need a new hard drive.
I think so. I think that was the only thing we swapped.
Maybe it was I need a new memory.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was something fairly small in it that it needed to install in it. It looks a little wonky because it had an optical drive in the front, and then when I fixed it, it came off and I couldn't put it back on, so it's just got a hole in it, which is kind of funny. But it works. And that's gotten her into other games. She streams on Twitch because of that computer. And she has an awesome boyfriend as well who is into streaming, so he's super helpful for her too now that we don't live in the same area. But that computer is still running. And it's only had one problem, the CMOS battery.
Mm-hmm.
Took a shit.
Yeah, it happens.
And luckily her mom apparently worked in a computer repair store for 30 years. And over FaceTime
really?
helped her. Yeah, it was something stupid. It was so crazy. Like over FaceTime helped her install that battery. But that thing still kicks. And it doesn't look like it's gonna stop.
And I think that's
knocking on wood for
we've
her.
also hit this wonderful point, semi-wonderful point, where computers are getting better, but it's not like, oh god, I'm 2 years behind, I need an upgrade.
Right.
You know, I'm on a 1080 Ti now, and a 1080 that card came out in what, 20
before my time in the community of this, so I don't know.
It was before I was building PCs. And it's still going. It's playing modern games. The drivers are still up to date. Like, you can get into it now, and if you decide you love it, then you can take the chance to invest more. And if you hate it, then you can say, cool, that $500 wasn't worth it for me. Turn around on Facebook Marketplace for another $300 and make back some of your investment and say, well, cool.
To be so honest, whatever you buy your first computer for, as long as the hardware in it is good and runs, you can probably turn it for about as much as you made it for. Like,
probably. Depends. Used pricing can be a little.
It also depends on. Yeah, I mean, Facebook Marketplace is a grab. You're either going to get someone who doesn't know enough and will pay more than they should, and they don't know that, or there's going to be people like that do what I do, which is I click on posts, and I never actually message anybody, but I go on posts, and I look at the parts list, and I price it out in my head, but how much that would be worth used, and it's usually about $300 under what they're trying to sell it for the most part.
Yeah.
But I get it. I remember I posted to buy my first computer, I sold my entire collection of Nintendo Switch things, which was a questionable decision. But now I'm into PC gaming, so I think it all worked out.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, my Nintendo Wii from 2008 still works, so that's all we need in this house. But
he gets you to homebrew that.
I don't want to mess with it. She's fragile. She's fragile. She just needs to run Mario Super Sluggers. That's all that matters. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Damn it.
You're welcome.
But like, I mean, when I posted my Nintendo Switch, it was like 10 games. It was like a big one, like that you could take on and off the dock.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to sell it for $500. No one bought it for $500. I think I ended up selling it for about $350, which felt a little crappy considering how much money I put in for all the accessories I had. But
it's what happens.
Used markets are always tough.
They are. But it's definitely like, this is a hobby that I would recommend to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you get into it thinking that you're going to enjoy it for one thing, there's just as much chance that you're going to end up wanting something else out of it.
Oh my god, even just the productivity that you get out of it.
Like, I think your friend is a great example because, we wanted to get them to play Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And she does hop in every once in a while.
And she doesn't play a lot of Overwatch.
Not her thing. But she found something else in PC gaming, and she's like, I love this.
Right.
And we always, we encourage it. We always do.
Right. I mean, just the amount that I get out of this thing is crazy. Like, it's worth so much more than whatever I paid for it.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
between the hobbies I've grown with gaming to the friends I've made through the communities that I'm a part of with games um to just the general doing work or classwork on a nice machine that works really well with 2 monitors is pretty cool. Like, I hate going to work and sitting at my little desk with my little laptop because I'd rather be at my desk with my 2 huge monitors and my PC that goes burr. And I mean, and there's other hobbies with any kind of digital creating. I just think it's so worth it. Anything digital, but no, I'm just getting really broad. So worth it.
I'm also in the unusual boat where I beat up computers. I'm really mean to them. Just because I ask them to do a lot. So it's nice for me to know that this one has quirks and I know what they are.
Right. Well, should we get into the real world?
Let's do it.
What do you
What
got?
do we got?
I said it first.
Damn. Ooh, I reread Jurassic Park and The Lost World in the last few days. For anybody who's not familiar, Jurassic Park was a book first. It's by Michael Crichton. It's great. If you like good writing, you should read it. If you like science fiction, you should read it. If you like horror, you should read it. If you like science, you should read it. If you like reminding yourselves that humanity ain't always all it's supposed to be, it's a great read. I don't have enough good things to say about that book. Jurassic Park in particular, I think Lost World is it's a bit more theoretical, whereas Jurassic Park has a lot of thoughts behind it, but they're a little bit more tangible and easily accessible. But I don't have enough good things to say about it. And for anybody who says I've seen the movie, it's different than the movie. It's so different.
I don't even like the movie, though, because do you know why I don't like the movie? You know this about
No,
me.
I don't think so. I
Oh
had
my
issues
god.
with the movie for a long time.
No, I'm sure it's a wonderful movie. I'm terrified of dinosaurs. They are
I'm
a genuine fear I have. That is a genuine fear.
Oh, I'm gonna have to read you a passage or two from that book.
As a 24-year-old woman, I am terrified of dinosaurs. And you want to know why? You've ever been to Disney World?
I know exactly where you're going with this. You
When
actually
I
have
was 8 years old, my mother decided it was a great idea to take her child on the dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom in Disney World, Orlando, Florida. I didn't want to go. Fun fact, I've always had this existential fear that the world is just going to end. Like, the 2012 stuff was terrifying to me. It gives me trauma as a child. So the idea of thinking about a world ending disaster of an asteroid hitting the earth, that conceptually is terrifying to me. So anything around the dinosaurs has never been a thing for me. I don't like it. Didn't like it. I didn't want to go. My mom wanted to go. I don't know if you've ever seen the T-Rex at the end of that ride, or just the general dark jerkiness and things coming over the cart to come and get you. Also, they're old, so we can excuse that. Not great animatronics. They're kind of terrifying.
I think that whole ride is actually really well done.
That ride is awful.
Oh, I love that ride.
I can't. There is a picture somewhere of my mother and me in the cart. So the cart has 3 rows ish, or maybe 2, 4. Okay. There is a group of. It was just me and my mom, I remember, in a row. but I think there was people in front of us. And it's these women in front of us. We're in the back row of this cart. These women are laughing, they're smiling because they take your picture right where the T-Rex jumps out at you, right before you duck underneath it and exit the ride. Takes your picture, and it's all of these women. It's my mom looking over at me, laughing her ass off, and me death gripping the railing, ducked under, crying. It was awful. My mother hates buying the ride pictures because she thinks they're corny. She bought that one. It's somewhere.
I want to see it at some point.
I will try to find it. And then another Disney World. If you've ever been to it doesn't exist anymore. They shut it down. It was Ellen's little, like, what was it called?
Energy World.
Ellen's Energy World. There was a part of the ride. It wasn't a ride. It was a show. It was a 45-minute. You only went into that because it was 45 minutes of air conditioning in Orlando, Florida in July. But there's a whole part of that ride where you go into a separate room, and it's like her talking about energy way back when the dinosaurs are. The dinosaurs don't even move. They're not full animatronics. There's just lighting and noise, but they're way back in this room. I was so scared.
You know why they don't move?
Why?
Those pieces of scenery were reused from World of Energy, which was the ride before Ellen's Energy World.
Ah.
Which was an opening day, or not, it may not have been opening day, but it was from the opening.
Pretty early. Yeah.
In 1980. I used to know all of it.
I'm sorry I went on a dinosaur rant for 10 minutes.
No, you're good.
But I hate Jurassic Park.
I just feel like I have to clear up. I didn't have a good relationship with Jurassic Park for a while. When I was very young, I'm going to say probably when I was about 4 years old, I remember going to my grandparents' house. And my grandparents were not super wealthy, not going to make it sound like they do, but my grandfather really, really loved his technology, and he really, really loved, like, the newest thing. And one of the things that he wanted to do was he wanted a big theater setup. So he had, I forget what it was like a 48 or a 52-inch TV, which was at a time when most TVs were like 24 inches, 28 inches, 32 inches, somewhere in that ballpark. So this was a massive TV. It probably weighed 200 pounds. And he had a surround sound audio setup. And on top of that, he had a Laserdisc player. Do you even know what a Laserdisc is?
They're like Blu-ray?
No, it's like a CD. But instead of being this big, it's this big.
No idea.
It literally is the size of a record.
That's crazy.
But it's a CD. And it was actually it still is, like, really good quality for what it is. Obviously modern formats are a lot more, you can get a lot more information on discs and stuff, but for what it was at the time, it was like basically like bringing the movie theater to your home.
Mm-hmm.
And experiencing Jurassic Park at night in this setup that was like magical, and having a Tyrannosaurus just brought to life in front of you as a 4-year-old.
Terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. So there were a few years where I was like, I don't do Jurassic Park. I don't like it. I don't want to be anywhere near it.
Terrifying.
And eventually I had a point where I was like, no, this movie's great. But yeah, read the book. It's so good. It's so good. At some point I'm gonna have to read you a couple passages because it's just good writing.
I'm pretty sure my boyfriend knows it. I might have to look at it. I'll try it. I haven't branched out into my sci-fi era yet.
Oh, when you do, you know I have a few recommendations.
I know. Don't worry, you have like a really good like literary masterpiece recommendation today, and I'm gonna talk about a dumb romance book series. So welcome to my book corner. I don't remember what I talked about last time. I think I was reading the first one. Did I?
Yeah.
If I had anything bad to say about that book, I take it back. That is a reality show that kept me hooked. It was so entertaining for no reason. I'm gonna once again remind everybody the premise to these books. There's 4 of them because there's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They came to Earth one day and they said, "Y'all don't get to live anymore." Took out all technology, nothing works, cars. It was a big apocalyptic event the day they came because like cars were crashing, people are dying. So the first horseman was Pestilence. He came, he was killing everyone with his plague. But not until a girl falls in love with him and he falls in love with the girl. They are dumb fucking romance novels that make no sense because these human women are falling in love and making big teddy bears out of the literal gods of destruction. This is the 3rd one. I read the 2nd one in 2 days. They are phenomenal. If you want a reality show in a romance book, these are just unmatched. Laura Thalassa, you really got me hooked. I thought your books were going to be dumb as fuck, and they kind of are, but like in the most charming way possible. Especially when you sunk your teeth into 16 SJM books, which I'm not going to say that they're like super hard to understand fantasy intricacies of a series, but there's a lot there.
Yeah.
By the end, when you're juggling 3 different series with a whole world around them, it's a lot to remember. It's a fatiguing experience to read fantasy for that long. They're nice little breathers. I cannot wait to finish them. They're very good. And I have another series by her too that I just can't wait. Fun fact, if you pick up a book and you see this symbol on the bottom, I know it's flipped and it's going to be flipped because Zach always flips my camera for me because I hate seeing myself invert. If it's by Bloom, it's going to be a dumb romance book. It's going to be the dumbest thing you've ever read, but you're going to love every fucking second of it. That is my soapbox. Read dumb books. Not everything has to be a literary masterpiece. Sometimes they're nice just to be little reality shows.
I forgot that I flip you because like it's just like ingrained in me now.
That terrifies me. I can't do it.
I don't even think about it. I'm just like, oh, yep, Nox needs her flip.
Right. Because
actually,
I will have it'll be fine. I won't die, but my brain's gonna explode. I just can't handle it. I will spiral.
I just find that one really funny because like it also messes up when I have to do any censoring in After Effects. I actually have to go use a custom formula to flip all the coordinates.
Just the high maintenance co-host.
You are not.
Because I literally cannot handle. It was worse. My little invert was worse when I used to have a side part. There ain't no way I'd ever allow anyone to see me in inverse. And don't tell me that everyone sees me in inverse every day because I will spiral. Anyway, that was my real world.
Until the next one. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our discussion today. We release these episodes weekly, but if that's not often enough for you, like come join us in the Discord. Like we really are just real people. We hang out. If you just want to like say hi, you have any own insights, you think there's something you want to hear on the show, like talk to us. Also like hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Like it actually helps us a lot. Sorry. I hate saying it because I know it's annoying, but
what's the quote? YouTube tells me that 80% of you watch my video, but you're not subscribed. Whatever they say.
But yeah, thank you for listening to us. We hope to see you guys in the next one.
Bye. Oh, it's only me doing the double hands today. That's
sorry.
So sad.
I'm sorry, it's a 50-50 split.
Oh. You know, the really tough thing about these recordings is when you have to pee about 10 minutes in.
Part of me wants to keep that in the recording.
Yeah, you should. I put that in there for that.